For some people, living off the land is a dream, mostly unattainable, but still a dream. For others, living off-grid is a more practical alternative, not as drastic, but much more attainable than you might think. On this edition of Michigan Magazine, we discovered a husband and wife team in northern Michigan, Paul and Gail Goddard, who've been doing just that and turned that experience into a beautiful bed, breakfast, and barn to share with everyone. What does it mean to be off-grid?
That means that the commercial power lines are 2 miles away, and we are not connected in any way to commercial power.
So where do you get your power?
And we make our own. We have a wind turbine and a battery bank downstairs, and we make our own electricity.
Now that's something that a lot of people have just dreamed about and thought maybe it is totally impossible. This is just something that can't be done. But you have done it, and you've created a B&B, haven't you?
Yes, we sure have. It's been we've been here for 12 years, so this isn't anything new for us. Been doing it for a long time and very successfully.
Oh my goodness! Now, I would think it'd be kind of hard. Now, what stimulated the actual decision to do something like this and discover that it may be possible? I mean, this takes a rare breed, I think, to actually do something.
We got a quotation from the local power company. There was a substantial amount of money to bring power to the property, and simply felt that we could spend that money in looking at alternative energy. And we did, and it has turned out just fine. It works like a champ.
We just have one hard, fast rule here, and that is if you turn it on, you have to turn it off. So we're very aware of our electrical usage. We use energy-efficient appliances, compact fluorescent light bulbs. We simply watch what we're doing, which is what anyone could do. You don't have to live off-grid to be energy conscious, and it's just a part of life. It's not anything that we even think about anymore. It's just a normal way of behaving.
If you decided to go back on grid, which you probably never will, it would take something. I mean, the power lines aren't that near to you, are they?
Well, they're about 1.75 miles from us. So the power company would have to come in, and because we live in a state and national forest, all power lines all utilities have to be underground. So the power company would have to come in and install the connection to the closest, which is 1.75 miles, and then we would have to bring a line in from the road into the house. Certainly, if that were to happen and it wasn't going to be an expense to us, we might consider using the power grid as a backup, but we doubt we'd ever go back to using that alone.
What power, wind power, solar power, what do you use and how do you use it?
We have out in front of the house on a 100-foot tower a 3,000-watt wind turbine, and that means that at its peak production, which is 28 miles an hour wind, it produces 3,000 watts. It is a battery charger. The heart of the system is a battery bank, and what that is a battery charger. So that 3,000 watt turbine is charging the batteries, and then out of the batteries we take electricity to run the house. We invert the DC electricity from the batteries into conventional AC electricity to power the house. The house is all standard, code compliant AC with switches and outlets and everything like that. We get about 85% of our need out of the wind turbine itself. 15% balance comes from our backup generator.
Well, you must have been a whiz at this when you first got into it.
Not nearly as smart as I look, Barry. Honest to goodness. No, I'm just an old salesman, and I knew nothing about this. And that's a point I like to emphasize with people, that this is not beyond the reach of the average guy. It's not that you can do it all yourself, but it's simple to install, simple to understand, and the average person can get this done.
You're not hoarding all this information to yourself. I'm sure that you would, let people know how you did it. I understand that you're very open with that, aren't you?
You bet. We have a seminar here first Friday of every month, assuming that there are attendees, which there are not necessarily every time. It's called the Basic Introduction to Alternative Energy, and I do charge. There is a fee, $135. And we invite people in and take them, just as the name implies, basic introduction to alternative energy. We take them from start to finish on what all is involved, how to do it, vendors, contractors, local code applications, and things of that sort. By the time they leave here, I promise them that they will be the smartest kids on their block when they get home. And sometimes they call and say they are.
So what you're doing is providing a seminar or information here on site to actually see it in operation, but it's doing something and letting people know of something that you've garnered constructing the house. So you've got a wealth of information that you're going to be letting people in on and how they can do it.
Yes.
But what I like too is that, my goodness, you can take the seminar in and you can enjoy a beautiful B&B. Tell us a little bit about what you've got here, Gail. I mean, this is wonderful. It's in a very nice area of the state.
It's a beautiful area. We are in the Huron National Forest, so we are remote. Our closest neighbor is 1.5 miles away. It's quiet. It's peaceful. The bed and breakfast has been operational since about 2004. We didn't really intend to, we didn't start off when we built this to become a B&B, but we have a lot of extra room, and we're small. We only have 3 guest rooms. Lots of porches, green porch. People come to hike, they come to relax, they come to cross-country ski. We encourage people who own their own horses to bring their horses, because we have facilities. We have a barn and pastures and stalls and that sort of thing, and then ride through the forest. So we do have a lot of people who come with their horses. It's a wonderful way to meet people. It's not a full-time business, but we have thoroughly enjoyed it, and we've met some great people, and it's a fun thing to do. We like to stay at B&Bs when we travel, and when we first built and friends and relatives would come to visit, we'd sit out on the deck and everybody would say, "Oh, it's so beautiful here, and this would be a wonderful place. You should have a B&B." And as frequent B&B guests, we said, how hard is this? So we learned a little bit about it. We joined the Michigan Lake to Lake Bed and Breakfast Association, and got some tips from them, and just kind of moved into it gradually, and had some brochures printed, which are available in the Michigan travel centers, and have a website, and have done a little bit of advertising, but I think a lot of it is word of mouth, a lot of it is internet. People go online and they're looking for a B&B, and there we are. So we do have a lot of repeat business, but we just did this because it's a great way to meet people, and it seemed to be kind of fun.
Yeah, it would be fun. Now, what type of people would you say would enjoy your bed and breakfast?
Well, we get people who, we don't typically have hunters or snowmobilers. We have people who enjoy the B&B experience like we do, who come up north for canoeing, because we're not far from Mayo and from the Au River, for cross-country skiing, for hiking, people who bring their horses. Also, people who are coming locally to attend weddings or graduation parties, or family get-togethers. So those are the people, and sometimes just folks who want to come up north and relax for the weekend.
Yes. On the porch?
Sit on the porch, put your feet up, have a glass of wine, and enjoy the scenery and the quiet and the birds, and yeah.
Ah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? To truly and actually unplug. Thanks, Gail. Thanks, Paul, for sharing your Loghaven with Michigan Magazine.